Who dat? We dat. We back. What another one, Jay? We back with another episode of Hidden Takes, my brother. I mean, shoot, it's been a minute. This is just say what up, man. And this is Hidden Takes episode 14, brother. Excited to be back. I'm actually back in the Bay as well.
Back in the Bay.
I know we're gonna be doing this live though, but there's a lot of play-in talks. The playoffs is right around the corner, man. A lot of records being broken, a lot of this, a lot of that going on. We seen what Cat did last night. But before all that, before we get into this hidden takes and the news around the league, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. Like how you said, I'm juiced, man, because we got the Hill Man in the Bay Area. We got the Hill Man back where he's supposed to be. I mean, Canada, to be real, Jay, Canada stole you, Jay. You know what I'm saying? You originated in the Bay. You know what I'm saying? You grew up out here, Jay. Canada stole you. So us over here in the Bay Area, we happy to have you back, Jay. And I'm doing good, man. I just can't wait for our live episode. Yeah, I mean, you told the fans a little bit, but the fans, they got to know, man. We got some special heat coming with this live episode, man.
Yes, sir. We got a live episode coming for y'all. So stay tuned with that very, very shortly. Coming this weekend for sure. So Jay, let's get it right to it with the league news. And the first of that, and I mentioned kind of earlier, we got NBA play-in predictions, right? So for those who don't know what the NBA play-in or didn't follow it last year, let me just break it down real quick and how the seeding and whatever works out for those of the uninitiated, Jay. So the first games to take place, obviously for the play-in game, it's the seventh through 10th seed. So the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th seed all will be in the play-in games. So those first games, the 7th and the 8th place team play a one-off game. The winner of that goes on to play the 7th seed. The winner of that goes on to play the 2nd seed. And the loser of that takes on the winner of the 9th and 10th place game. So the winner, the loser, or the winner, the 7th and the 8th place seed have 2 opportunities to get into the playoffs, whereas the 9th and 10th seed team only have 1 game. Sorry, they have 2 to get. They have to win 2 games, to get into the playoffs, and that's the 9th and 10th seed. If they lose, they're done. So Jay, the play-in tournament starts April 12th, so literally less than a month away from today. We're recording this on March 15th, 2022. And Jay, before we get started, let's talk about the current standings and kind of the teams that are in the play-in game right now. And I want to get your predictions about who will make it out, who won't, it will. So let's start right here in the West, Jay. And that's in the 7th and 8th seed currently as we speak is the Minnesota Timberwolves at 40-30. And the 8th seed would be the Los Angeles Clippers at 36 and 35, Jay. Who do you got coming out of that and playing what would be the 2nd seed right now would be the Memphis Grizzlies? And who do you got losing going on to take the winner of the Lakers or the New Orleans Pelicans?
Man, Jay, I mean, that Clippers and Minnesota matchup is going to be intense because, I mean, we hear a bunch of rumors. Kawhi might come back for playoffs. PG might come back for playoffs. And those are 2 instrumental players that, if they're there, it kind of changes everything. And I mean, Norman Powell, he's also going to try to make his way back. But right now, Jay, I have to go with the evidence that I have in hand and what I've seen. And I know, like you said, we just seen Cat play a crazy, ridiculous performance last night. So I'm honestly going to stay on that wave, Jay. And I'm going to go with the Wolves, surprisingly, because I can't rely and I can't put my money on Kawhi being there or PG being there. So I'm going to go with the Wolves, man. I mean, they've been Patrick Beverly really changed the culture over there. They've been really starting to play some intense defense. The offense, having players like Cat, having players like D'Lo, players like Anthony Edwards. I feel like the offense isn't. You're not worried about creating offense because players like that can just create offense for themselves. But what you really want to get down is the defense. And that's exactly what they've done. So I'm going to go with the Minnesota Timberwolves on this one, Jay. What about you? Am I reaching or what?
Nah, I'm with you on that. I mean, I just think the Timberwolves are playing such good basketball. They have been playing for a while now and led by Cat. I mean, we heard what he said. He said he was the best big man shooting of all time, Jay. And
That's
I
crazy.
mean, he has maybe a legitimate case now. We saw what he did tonight, going 7 from 11 from the 3 point line, shooting at an extremely high clip. And he's been doing it all season. I mean, I look to him to be, if not a first team All NBA, he's definitely a second team deserving, because he's been putting in work. The only reason he won't be probably is because Jokic and Joel Embiid just so happen to be having their career years as well. And I just think, like you said, Patrick Beverley had been saying that from way back. He changed the culture there. He's got those young guys playing with extreme confidence. Anthony Edwards as well. Even you look at the young guys coming on like Jared Vanderbilt and Jaden McDaniels, just playing great basketball. And I just think they're just building a great culture over there in Minnesota. So I think they're going to be able to win that. And I mean, I think it's going to be a good series. I don't foresee them beating Memphis, but I see that if it's either Memphis or Golden State in that second seed, I think it's going to be a great series and possibly take one or get 2 games off each teams. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Memphis. I'm going with Minnesota in that first for that matchup, Jay, as it stands right now. But let's flip it to the other side, Jay. And I know this. I know I didn't expect this team to be in the playing game. I know you didn't expect them to be in the playing game. Actually, no, I take that back. I did have them in the playing game way back when we had a roundtable. I didn't expect them to be a 9th seed, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers sitting here at 29 and 39. Obviously, that's due to injuries, whatever you want to say, but they're here in the 9th seed right now. And then we got at the 10th seed, the New Orleans Pelicans sitting at 28 and 40. Jay, is there a chance that the Los Angeles Lakers get knocked out in this 9-10 matchup, or how are you feeling about it, man? I
I,
gotta know.
I mean, of course, there's a chance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Any team could lose on any given night. Don't think there's a big chance because again, the Lakers are the 9th seed and the Pelicans are the 10th seed. So I feel that the Lakers already have an advantage, which is as far as having LeBron James, having the experience. I mean, I've been saying all season long, when the Lakers, I mean, if the Lakers can get into a consistent playoff
Yeah.
situation, I think that people can say whatever they want. They can talk about whatever they want in the regular season. They are going to be a completely different team in the regular season. Come, if you have a healthy roster and you have all those healthy vets out there who know what to do. And I mean, we seen it like with Charlotte last year, where experience really played a big part. Charlotte got punched in the mouth last year. All them young guys didn't really know how to respond. So I think that veteran, that the Lakers veteranship is really going to help them come playoffs. But I think that veteranship or not, I'm very confident that Lakers can handle the Pelicans, especially only needing to win 1 game. So my opinion, I have the Lakers beating the Pelicans. But I did mention, because I was talking to Junior about this, if that's how it played out today, the one thing that does scare me, because I mean the Pelicans bigs, I don't think they really got stand a chance, but one thing that does scare me, not scare me, but definitely is a sign of concern is I've talked to you all the time about it, Jay. The Lakers have a tough time defending the pick and roll. CJ McCollum
Mm-hmm.
is a master of the pick and roll
Mm-hmm.
and how to utilize out of that pick and roll. So that definitely would be a matchup problem, man. But overall, I think the Lakers will be able to beat them once before they can snag 2 off them.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't. It's really hard for me to go against LeBron, despite the deficiency of the Lakers, especially in that first matchup. And I mean, the Pelicans are playing great basketball. I like you said, that is a good matchup for them. And I know they got a lot of confidence in that the last time they matched up against each other in LA, and that's probably, well, we'll see. Right now, it's pretty close. It could end up in New Orleans. It could end up in LA. But like you said, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to go against LeBron, despite the supporting cast he lacks. And we don't know if Anthony Davis will be back for that playing game. I mean, that would help. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think by no stretch of imagination, regardless of who wins, I don't think it's going to be a blow up by any stretch of imagination, Jay. But I'm gonna right now lean with the Lakers in that early round. But then, Jay, so there you have it. We got the Timberwolves moving on. We got the Clippers losing that game and then going into the losers bracket for them, and they would go on to play the first seed, which this looks like going to be the Phoenix Suns, and then the Los Angeles Lakers would be playing against them. So Jay, come on, LA, the battle of the Staples Center, formerly known as a Staples Center locker
Man.
room. The locker rooms across from each other, across the hallway, the battle of the hallway. Jay, we've seen this matchup be crazy all season. Well, latest was a blowout for the Lakers. Sorry, for the Clippers, but it's been a close matchup all season for the most part, Jay. Um, let's look at it like Paul George and Kawhi are going to be out right now. So we're talking Clippers with their current roster, with their go-to option, as we've seen Reggie Jackson, who's been playing career basketball. Jay,
I know about it. I know about it.
So for those of those who don't know, Jay's been going on a crazy run with his fantasy squad. First, knocked me out in the first round, Jay. I gotta put some respect on your name.
Jay,
this cast has been blowing up. He's got Jokic, he's got DeMar, he's got scores.
I just got lucky, Jay. I got lucky that day that DeMar went for 30, like Jokic went for 50. All these players just went crazy. I just got lucky, Jay. I'm just a perfect example of getting hot at the right time. Ain't no
but
talent,
Jay, but that's how fantasy works. So, but it's also rosters construction too at the same time. So that's comes with the territory. But anyways, Jay, not to get sidetracked here. So we got the battle of LA, man. Who you got? I mean, I think that's just going to be box office, to be honest. Like, regardless of Paul George and thing, this is what the Clippers wanted. Basically, they want to take that crown. I know this is a playing game, but still, this is going to give them some clout in LA. Let's be real. Like, if they're able to take out LeBron and not make him make the play, I don't even remember, Jay. I don't even remember the last time. I don't even. Yeah, I
don't either.
Every year of our like since I could. When has he been in the NBA? Right? Like,
yeah, LeBron's been to the NBA, the playoffs, like almost every year.
Except his rookie year, right?
Except his rookie year. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
and then that year that he missed too, like the year that he got injured.
Right.
First year on the Lakers.
Yeah. Regardless of those 2 years, those kind of outliers. Whenever he's been in healthy, he's been in the playoffs. Besides his rookie year. So Jay, are the Clippers going to do the unforsakable? But like, if whoever gets in that game, this situation, Clippers, they're going to take out the Lakers.
Man, that would be crazy. And I agree, Jay, that would give the Clippers a lot of clout. And that would be huge because, I mean, we all know like the Clippers are always have this like attitude of like trying to trump the big brothers, right? It's kind of the same way Brooklyn and the Knicks are, you like little bro, big bro thing. So that would definitely be huge. But I mean, like I were saying earlier, Jay, if we have to go with the evidence that we have at hand, I'm gonna go with the Lakers because I feel that the Clippers, they have Kawhi and PG out. That's 1 and 2 out, right? So like if 1 is out, okay, well we still rely on 2 and we can still play and we're gonna run the same plays we're gonna run to our number 1 option. We can run to our number 2. I mean, when your first and second stars go out, I mean it really makes things ever. You're kind of asking the third star in Reggie Jackson. That's no disrespect to Reggie Jackson because he's been balling out, even though he didn't play today. Like that's no disrespect to Reggie Jackson. I just don't think that we're gonna in my opinion, I can't realistically trust a Reggie Jackson, a Zubac, and a extremely injured Clippers team to knock out a Lakers team that has yes, it is the Lakers team because it's not the LeBron team, but I mean, it's looking like the LeBron show out there right now, right? So like, I'm not gonna believe that a hobbled Clippers with their first 2 stars being out can knock out LeBron, like how you said, from being in the playoffs that he's been almost every single year of his career. There's a flip side. If Paul George and Kawhi Leonard plays, now that becomes a lot more difficult because now I think you just got straight up not a star power against star power, and to be real with you, I can't say it's confidently that the Lakers will be able to handle that because they haven't. Like so far in the season they haven't handled it. When those stars have been able to play, I'm not talking about Kawhi Leonard. Obviously he hasn't played, but I'm saying when these other stars have been playing, the Lakers have had a tough time. So if no Kawhi, no PG, and that's what we have as of today, I'm gonna go with the Lakers, man. Too much star power to get knocked off by, I think, like third options. No disrespect, because like remember Oku, you know.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
not even
yeah, yeah.
talk about that.
Yeah, no, we won't even get into that. But Jay, that's a tough one. I mean,
That's
I think
funny.
the Clippers are one of those teams. I think Ty Lue knows LeBron so well. He knows that matchup. But it's tough to go against LeBron, like I said, in one game. I will say this asterisk that in order for the Lakers to win, it's got to be a huge night for and this is it almost seems like against any team they're playing. It doesn't matter if it's a Rockets, whatever team, they need LeBron to have a huge game. That's just the way the Lakers are playing because the supporting cast is so poor. And I think that's going to be a similar situation, which doesn't bode well for that first round matchup if they're to be playing the Phoenix Suns, because that's a lot of wear and tear, regardless of if AD is back. I mean, that's a lot of mileage for a 37-year-old LeBron, and I worry for them in that first round matchup if they're be able to get out. But in a one game setting like this, I'm gonna go with the Lakers in that matchup over the Clippers. But it has to be a big game from LeBron. I will add that for in order for them to move on, despite the Clippers not having Kawhi and Paul George. If they have Kawhi and Paul George, I will say if or either one of them, Paul George maybe or Kawhi, I do have the Clippers in that matchup, but that's if and it maybe. So we're just saying their current day rosters right now. I would go with the Lakers in that matchup. So um, let's move on to the East, Jay. Now that we got in the playing games and who will be in that matchups, Jay. So as it sits, my man, as it sits in that 9-10 matchup, we have the Atlanta Hawks. That's crazy to say
That's
after
crazy.
being
Yeah.
in the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young, you should not be letting that happen. And then the Charlotte Hornets sitting at the 10 seed. And then we have on the other side of the bracket, we got the 7 and 8 matchup, which is the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets. And I will add this asterisk. If I'm the Brooklyn Nets, and I know if I'm Kyrie and all these guys right now, we know the mandates have not switched in Toronto. So that would mean, Jay, background for our listeners, if the Brooklyn Nets play the Toronto Raptors and they go on the road to Toronto, Kyrie Irving would not be able to play in that game in Toronto, which is huge, Jay. So
Huge.
this is why I add this. And shout out to my boy Oko, because next week we are going to the game versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are currently 39 and 29, and sitting in the 6th seed, and the Toronto Raptors sitting at 38 and 30, which becomes a huge game because if I'm the Brooklyn Nets, I'm rooting for the Toronto Raptors in that game to win that game because they want them to get the 6th seed, Jay, because they do not want Kyrie not to be able to play if they're on the road there. Because it's going to be tough to close that I think it's, I believe, a 3-game gap between the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors, even if it's even worse if it's a Cleveland Cavaliers, Jay. So just have to throw in that little asterisk. But let's talk about that game, the 7th-8 matchup between the Toronto Raptors and the Brooklyn Nets. And let's keep in mind right now as we speak, because that's how we're speaking figuratively today, Kyrie Irving would not be able to play in that game, Jay. Toronto Raptors, Brooklyn Nets, who you got in Toronto?
Man, that's crazy, Jay. Like, that's so crazy, dog. Like, we are in 2022 talking about such an instrumental player in Kyrie Irving and like him not playing, man, like because of a vaccine. But I honestly don't care what your beliefs are. This is like what you fight for to play in the NBA playoffs, make it through and be an NBA champion, but you're not going for a vaccine. Oh, that's crazy, man. I just thought I had to throw it out there, Jay. That's just kind of crazy to me. But yes, Jay, my opinion, Kyrie or not, I'm taking the Brooklyn Nets. Like, and that's no disrespect, and that's no disrespect. And I know my boy Oku might be sick when
shout out Oko,
shout out Oku for real, because I know he might be sick when I hear this. But I mean, Kyrie Irving or not, man, I think Brooklyn is on a mission this year. I've been saying it all year. The Brooklyn Nets didn't win the NBA Finals last year because KD was a size 14 shoe, right? Like, so they are on a mission to get there again. And I don't think that KD and is going to let that team go down like that. And I mean, we just seen the steal they got in Seth. I mean, Seth isn't Kyrie Irving. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm just saying Seth isn't no scrub though, right? He was a starting point guard in Philadelphia. So I still have the Brooklyn taking it this one. How about you, Jay?
MJ, so are you? And I want to fast forward a little bit. Right now, Vegas still has the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks are the two top favorites to make it out of the East and to win the finals. Jay, are you still with that despite what Brooklyn is like right now? Let's just say Brooklyn for right now. Do you think they still have a legitimate shot if they're the 8th seed? They win that game and they'll be taking on. Let's see who they'll be taking on, Jay. They win that game, they're taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. You still think they're, and that's already Eastern Conference semifinals rematch last year.
That's freaking insane.
with all this news, MJ, listen, throw in right now. We don't even know what the status is of Ben Simmons, so we have to add that little asterisk again to that series. Are you still thinking with all that rough lean? We don't even know if Kyrie will be able to play at home. We don't know if that status will change there. In New York, we've seen the mayor be pretty sturdy and he's holding tight. I mean, he's just newly elected into office. We won't get into the politics or nothing about that, Jay. But I mean, do you still think that's they're a legitimate threat to that title in Brooklyn?
Yeah, I mean, to be real with you, if they end up facing Milwaukee, if you're asking my opinion, I think Milwaukee's taking it all. So I think they're going to get knocked out. If they end up facing Milwaukee, I think they're going to get knocked out. Right now, Milwaukee is just too deep, got too much of confidence rolling, and players know what to do. Players not getting out of line. Giannis is Giannis. The role players are going crazy. If Brooklyn is playing Milwaukee in the first round, unfortunately, Brooklyn is going home in the first round because I just don't think Milwaukee is losing this year. I think they're going to go back to back. So, but that's just crazy, man. Kyrie Irving not playing.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jay, and we're for those listening, watching on YouTube, we will have a picture of the current bracket and what we're looking at right now when we're talking about this, because I just want to, you can't see this visually if you're listening to this on the podcast, Jay, but I want to look just at this left side of this right side, the Eastern Conference right now. And I'm looking at all these first round potential Eastern Conference semifinals matchups, Jay. And I'm just like, man,
every single one is
gigantic, Jay. We look at the 3-6. Well, first of all, let's look at the winner of Toronto and Brooklyn's going on to take Milwaukee. That's a potential Brooklyn and Milwaukee matchup right there. We look at the other side. We look at Philly and Cleveland, still a great matchup. Boston and Chicago and that 4-5. I mean, that series is going to be crazy. And then we look at the winner of potentially Toronto. And then I got to ask you if it's going to be Atlanta or Charlotte, man. Like, who's going to win that game? The winner of that 9-10 game would go on to take Toronto.
Wow, man.
The East is wild.
East is wild.
There's some beasts in the East.
There are some beasts in the East.
Who said that, Jay? No, I'm not.
Jay, there are definitely some beasts in the East. And honestly, Jay, I'm trying to think. Do I have the Hawks, a proven team that did it last year? You know, that made their Eastern Conference final run, or do I have a team in Charlotte who, in my opinion, seems like they learned their lesson from last year? In my opinion, it really seems like they've learned their lesson, and I think that now they're ready to take that jump and I think land that playoff spot. So Jay, I know it sounds crazy, Jay. I know it does, Jay. Well, I'm gonna go
land the playoff spot. Wait.
No. Okay, sorry, Jay. I meant beat the Hawks. I meant beat the Hawks. I meant beat the Hawks. I meant beat the Sorry about that, Jay. I meant the Hawks. I meant the Charlotte Hornets are ready to beat the Hawks, and they're ready to take a step forward. I mean, when was the last time we talked about Charlotte even competing, man? So I think they're ready to do that this year, Jay, and beat the Hawks. Are you got them there, or am I jumping the gun, bro?
I'm not ready I'm ready. Oh, I just think.
Okay. Yeah, ice.
It's cold. It's cold out here.
Jay.
It's cold. I'm not in Canada, but it's cold right now because it's ice. We got my Ice Tray, and I think he's going back to the playoffs, Jay.
He's going back to the playoffs. I mean,
he's going back to the playoffs. They're gonna beat Charlotte, and then I got him taking out Toronto.
I mean, we remember, Jay. We remember
Yeah.
Trae Young started balling out in the playoffs, and then even this season earlier, he's like, "Oh, it's kind of hard to get up for other games." So maybe you're right, maybe you're right, Jay. Maybe Jay's just maybe Trey's just gonna start going ballistic
Jay
come
and
playoffs.
Trey.
Jay and
CJ
Trey.
Collins. He needs help though, Jay. I will say that. And you know what? I'm gonna hold back on that take. I got Toronto on that. Too much experience in that playing game, and it's gonna be in Toronto. I got Toronto. I know for a fact, Jay. I've seen the way Toronto gets up in the playoffs. Man, their fans, that home court advantage is serious, and I think I don't see them losing that playing game to these are NBA champions. Trey's been to the cusp, almost made it to the finals. Fred VanVleet and Pascal Siakam and OG Anunoby, although he didn't play, those guys have won a title, Jay. So can't, and Nick Nurse as well. So I can't go against them. I can't go against the heart of a champion.
Did you go to like a playoff, that championship run that year, Jay? A game?
No, I didn't. Unfortunately,
it was crazy that year, huh?
That year was crazy, man.
Crazy.
City was on it. City was on a wave. I remember that.
that's crazy.
Unfortunately, in the finals, it was all cool for me up until the finals when they played. The Dubs. When they were playing the Dubs, then I was like, oh man. I wasn't coming outside
at the parade. At the parade, he was coming out the window. Shut that off! Turn that
off. I was nowhere to be seen, my guy.
But, that's so funny, brother.
But Jay, yeah. So who you got in that matchup between the Hawks and you got the Hawks going?
The Hawks in Toronto.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Toronto. I'm gonna go with Toronto. To be honest with you, I gotta go with Frederico. I gotta go with Frederico. To be honest with you, just like when we talk about with the Lakers, when we talk about that playoff experience, I think they got a little bit more of that playoff experience. And they're gonna be able to handle that, man. At the Raptors.
I ain't gonna lie. Like a part of me, I want to see some playoff basketball in Toronto. I'd be lying if I didn't want to see that. I'm not saying I would go, but I just Jay, like being in an atmosphere of playoff basketball and being able to watch it and know playoffs are going around you, man. Best time of year, to be honest. Like,
whole country behind you.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So, like, I'm not a Raptor fan, but it's just nice having that buzz around the city, man. Anyone likes.
You switching, Jay?
No.
I mean,
I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
For everybody on YouTube, y'all see Jay. Jay is swagged
out
today.
We know what squad
today. Okay.
Dubbed out, Jay.
Dubbed out. All right, brother. So we just talked about these play-in. So, Jay, honestly, I since I watched this game yesterday, I need to talk to you about this. Can I talk to you about this game I saw yesterday, Jay?
Yes, sir.
I saw a ridiculous game yesterday, Jay. I'm talking about MVP class, Jay. I'm talking about Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic, Jay. Like this, when I seen that this game was on, I made sure I cleared my schedule and made sure I had nothing to do for when this game started, man. So yesterday we caught the Nuggets beat the 76ers 114-110, man. I mean, I'll just get into the game here. Early in the game, Joel Embiid came out and really owned that first quarter, Jay. Ended up scoring 12 points. I mean, he was hitting threes. He was getting to the free throw line. He was sizing up, getting to the hoop. He was kind of really doing it all out there and really took care of that of the first quarter. The Nuggets had a horrendous first quarter, having 7 turnovers just in the first quarter, and then Philly being able to capitalize and score 15 points just in the first quarter off those turnovers. And then Jay, like honestly, before I keep talking about the game, let me just give a quick shout out to Tyrese Maxey. And like, I mean, in a way, I got to give you a shout out too, because I mean, you've been calling it, bro. I mean, and his game has took a whole different level and unlocked after James Harden came onto this team, because his speed, he's like a little speed demon out there. Harden just throws him the ball, he just gets to the hoop every single time. Is insane, man. So I just wanted to give Tyrese Maxey, some real quick praise. But then, come second quarter, and the Nuggets mount a huge comeback. They come back from a 19-point deficit, and Jokic really kind of leads that run, and the Nuggets end up ending the second quarter on a 19-5 run. And then come come third quarter, man, the 76ers kind of just really fumbled the bag. James Harden, he scored 12 points. Joel Embiid, he scored 13 points, but the rest of the team scored 5 points, Jay. That's just absolutely is unacceptable, and it's not going to get the job done. And that's exactly when the Nuggets came in, man. The Nuggets had a great fourth quarter. I mean, from the first three quarters, the Nuggets shot 6 of 23 from three. Just in the fourth quarter, they were with 2 minutes left to go. They were already 6 of 8, man. So just a extremely good fourth quarter for the Nuggets. Just want to give some praise to Embiid because I mean, he's my number one MVP candidate out there right now, and he definitely did his thing, man. Embiid ended up with 34 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 blocks. So just all praise to him. But then again, the man who won, the man who got it done. Some people's MVP favorite, Nikola Jokic, he ended up with 22 points, 13 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals. So, definitely doing his thing. But besides that, Jay, is a good game. The clash of the MVPs. I think this will be one of those games where it doesn't decide everything because again it's just March 15th, but people will look back at this game and see who had a better performance, what team balled out, and which player balled out, and see who they're going to pick for that MVP decision come the end of the year. But great game, Jay. I don't know if you got a chance to check that out, but if not, I suggest all the people to go check that out.
No, I mean that was a wild game, Jay, and I just think that we saw both players doing it the best way they could in terms of Jokic, the Joker, and Joel Embiid getting it the way they've done. We saw, like you mentioned, Joel Embiid affecting the game with his scoring and the way that he manipulates the game that way. And then with Nikola Jokic, we saw with the game and how he manipulates the game with his playmaking, his ability to get other teammates in positions to score. We saw that ridiculous pass that he made on the break. I think it was to Jeff Green, I believe. I can't even remember who it was. The outlet pass.
Yeah.
It was that dime, man. But he just continues to amaze me with his playmaking ability and what he does. That's why I got him as the MVP front runner right now, Jay. And let's look at what they've done recently in their games, Jay. And I think it's kind of not hurting them, but we talked about this would be the end of the honeymoon phase, and they play some team. The Sixers would play some teams and have some serious competition compared to when they first started out and the caliber teams they were playing. No disrespect to the Knicks and the Timberwolves, but now they've been playing some serious teams. We saw them recently lose to the Denver Nuggets. We saw them go into overtime against the Orlando Magic. I don't care about what happens in that game. On the road, doesn't matter. You cannot be going into overtime and barely winning. A win is a win, I will say that, but by 2 on the road, overtime against a young team like the Orlando Magic can't happen. And then it's hard for me to overlook this. If I'm an MVP voter, and just in general, Jay, I know it was the first time they played, but a 129 ass-kicking 100 loss to the Brooklyn Nets at home without Ben Simmons, Jay. Oh my goodness, man. That is a terrible loss for Joel Embiid and the Sixers. Hard for me to overlook in that case. They did take care of the Bulls, but the Bulls have struggled against top 4 opponents in each conference. We've seen that the whole season. They have a losing record when it comes to that sense against that. And then they did lose by 17 as well to the Miami Heat. So you look at that, loss to the Heat, the Nets, and the Nuggets. I think that is a little bit of a marker. Maybe it's a lot to overcome. I know people are saying he did outplay Jokic last night. I don't know if I could say that because, like I mentioned, the way that they manipulate the game and affect the game is different. Joel Embiid, yes, he did have more points, but we know as basketball heads, as people who understand the game, points is just one aspect of the game and affecting the game in other facets, whether it be rebounding, assists, points, as well as defensively is a whole different ball game. And I thought Jokic was just as comparable to the two with far less pieces. Let's be honest. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. are both out, and he still has them as the 6th seed in when we look at that West, yes, the bottom is not collectively is not as strong as the East. I'm not going to go out here and say that, but I will say the West is still the West in the sense that those top 7 seeds, you can maybe even throw the 8 in there. I would say the Suns to the Timberwolves are still some very tough competition, and he still got those Nuggets sitting there at the 6th seed. A lot to be said about that, but I think we've been mentioning it. We said it on the last Sit and Takes episode. This is still going to be a great MVP race, and I think it will be up until the end of the season. To be honest, both can make a serious case in these next. I believe it's 14, 13 games left in this regular season, Jay. So buckle up, fasten
Crazy.
your seatbelts. It's gonna be a crazy ride.
We talking about 2 big men now. That's what's
Mm-hmm.
crazy too for MVP,
Change,
man. Much
changing
respect.
the guard, Jay.
Much
Changing the
respect.
guard, Jay. But yeah, let me talk about my game, man. And there's there's a reason I'm wearing all this, Jay. There's a reason I am
is that
wearing
is
all
that
this.
Jay? Did you get on like, oh, I got to get my outfit ready for the episode, Jay? You was ready for this or not?
I had to rock a little Dub State, being back in the Bay and everything. But there's also another reason, Jay, and that is after 1,000 and something days, we finally saw on the floor the big three all together. Draymond Green back in the lineup for the Warriors last night against the Washington Wizards. Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry on Steph's birthday, 47 piece. Shout out the dude. But that's not the story. We got the big three all back on the floor, and boy, did they look good together, man. We saw this the Warriors come away with the 126-112 win. But it just goes to show you, and I've been talking about how important Draymond is to this team. Everyone, for that matter. You and I both know that Steph, yes, is the best player, but the most important player, just like you always mentioned with Anthony Davis. I think you got it flipped, in my opinion, though. I think LeBron is the best, but AD and how far they go is the most important. But we're still the same thinking on that front, though. But anyways, the most important player for the Warriors back in the lineup, and we just saw how easy, despite only playing 20 minutes last night on minutes restriction, Steph just getting easier looks, playing a lot more comfortable. We saw Klay, who went off against the Milwaukee Bucks the night before. He still got some better looks, although he didn't shoot it as well. And then we saw the emergence, not the emergence, just this dude's been on fire with, I believe, 7 or 6 straight games of 20 points or more, Jay. And that's the man, Mr. Poole, Jay. Come on, man.
Welcome
Remember
to
at
the
the
pool
beginning,
party. Welcome to the pool
welcome to
party.
the pool party, Jay. And then before the season, I said he'd average 20. I've been a little, he hasn't averaged 20, but he's been damn near close to it, bro. We saw him he's averaging 17 on the year, but he was struggling within there. And I think it was just a matter of him not getting the opportunities that he was should be giving, the lead way, especially with the coach day. But won't get into too much about that. But it's just nice to see all those guys being able to shine. And I think that small ball lineup for the Warriors is going to be hard to beat with all those shooters on the floor with Klay, Steph, and Jordan Poole. But anyways, Jay, in this game, let me talk a little bit more about this game and what I saw, man. I will say when it comes to what the Wizards do, and despite not having Bradley Beal, obviously the best player out, and all these guys, they do compete. Wes Unseld Jr. has these guys competing, ready to go. Despite not being undermanned, we saw Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup last night. We saw his ability to affect the game both defensively, offensively, and be able to shoot the ball at a high level from that deep range, Jay. And that's what he was able to do, manipulating the game in that sense, Jay. But I don't know if you saw any of this game, Jay. You want to talk about what you saw, and then I'll give my final initial reactions on this one.
Yeah, Jay. Honestly, I mean, I really ain't got nothing much to add besides, man, like the Warriors' big three is back, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I agree with you, you know, in that sense of what you're saying. Stephen Curry, of course, being the best player, but Draymond Green being such a vital piece. And I mean, we really saw the Warriors struggle without Draymond Green. We saw him struggle to find offense, saw him struggle to really have an identity. But now, you know, having him back is really like, you know, a plug and play piece, man. So it great. Absolutely great news for the Warriors. Honestly, the only thing I want to add, this has nothing to do with the game. This is just to do with Curry's 47 piece. Like, I just wanted to say, Jay, like this year is so impressive to me, Jay. Like, I don't know if I'm just tripping or not, but I feel like this year has been one of the highest scoring years. Like, man, we just seen, you know, LeBron just had two 50-point games, and how many 50? Then DeMar just had a great game. Cat just had a 60-point game. Curry was 3 points away from 47. Anthony Edwards the other day had 45. So it was just a ridiculous amount of scoring this year, man. And this game was no shortage of that, man. And we saw Curry do his thing. It's definitely great to see Jordan Poole out there hitting his shots on great efficiency, shooting 53% from the field. Kuminga is just starting to become one of those players. He just a typical role player in today's NBA. You know, will do the dirty work. So big shout out to him. And then my last shout out, Jay. Kristaps Porzingis, the unicorn, man, 25 points at 10 and 7 from the free throw line, and shot actually a good percentage from the field, which is surprising coming from Kristaps. But then again, Jay, you know, Kristaps Porzingis. So next game he might go for 2 points.
Kristaps, yeah, Kristaps. Yeah, no, I think this is going to be interesting. We're going to be able to see what the Warriors all about with their lineup, and we know Wiseman's coming back. So let's see how it is for the Dubs, and then Wizards obviously got a lot to figuring out to do. I do like their core and what they got in terms of Kyle Kuzma and how he's been playing, and then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I don't know how you're feeling about all this, Jay, about having all these guys gone, but I do think they have a sustainable future, honestly. If they're able to get Bradley Beal, he's obviously looks like he's committed to Washington for now.
Don't know why,
I like Denny Adia. He's a nice young player, as well as Rui Hachimura. So, I mean, as far as away as the Wizards team right now, I do think that they have some pieces to potentially be intrigued about in the future. And it looks like right now they'll be able to get a lottery pick. So let's see what they're able to do with that. And I don't know. Let's look at how these Wizards end up, man.
Yeah, let's see if the Wizards have another disappointing year or not, Jay. All right, Jay. All right. So, I mean, I think we covered a lot, Jay. I mean, this was really a special episode where we talked about where we wanted to focus on that play-in situation. And for all the fans, I mean, stay tuned, because we just talked about playing, but we definitely got a lot of playoff episodes coming up as the playoff inches closer. And like how we said in the beginning, man, we definitely got a live episode coming up soon. So stay tuned for that too, man. But besides that, Jay, you got any last words to say before we get out of here?
No, brother. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter at Clutch Talk Pod. Get at us on there. Send us your questions, comments, concerns if you want to hear us talk about anything. And look to us on Instagram as well for reels, highlights, polls, all of that, man. We got that going. And then YouTube is where you can find our videos, seeing, you know, plays, highlights, all that when we're talking in our episodes as well. And then stay tuned as well, because we got some NBA guest appearances coming up soon, as well as some college interviews. So stay tuned for that as well, man. So that's really all I got to say, Jay. And we can thank you for your continued support of us, man.
Yes, sir, man. We got a lot in the bag, man. So like how Jay said, man, thank you for your support. And that's it. We out here, y'all. Clutch Talk out.
Peace.